Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the February 8th, 2017 meeting of the Ascension Parish Planning Commission. I'd ask everybody please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and the roll call of members, all commissioners are present with the exception of Mr. Christie, Vice Chairman, who is out this month, he recovering from a surgery. I'd like to have the staff introduce themselves, please.
Stacy Webb, Secretary for Planning and Development.
Cody Morton, the Attorney for the Planning Commission.
Jerome Fournier, Director of Planning and Development.
Eric Poche, Parish Planner.
Lance Brock, Zoning Official.
Sean Scherow, Engineering Review Agency.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'd also like to recognize Councilman Doc Satterley, who's with us tonight. Thank you, Councilman, for being here. Chairman's comments. The chair has no comments tonight. We'll move along to our general business. Item 7A is approval or denial of the minutes and written decisions of the January 11th, 2017 Planning Commission meeting. Do I have a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Mr. Dudley, second by Mr. Chasson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Item 8A, the consent, or item 8 is the consent agenda. 8A is the affidavit of mortgage declaration for the Lyman P. Abity Jr., Lot 2B, 42044 Highway 931, Gonzales, Louisiana. Can I have a motion on the affidavit, or on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Chasson, second.
Second.
By Mr. Foster. All in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Item 9A is a public hearing to approve or deny the following preliminary plats. 9A is Germany Oaks Phase 2, Quality Engineering and Surveying, and I assume, Mr. Murphy, that is yours.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Derek Murphy of Quality Engineering and Surveying, representing the Kelly Seals LLC for Germany Oaks Phase 2. This was basically an additional phase to an existing preliminary plat, or final plat, or subdivision off of Germany Road. We have addressed all of the comments per staff for drainage, traffic, and the preliminary plat comments. We're basically adding another phase to an existing excuse my tongue-tiedness tonight, to an existing project. When we originally did Germany Oaks first phase, we didn't know any of this other property was for sale. Since that time, the residents of the area approached our developer and asked him to buy this property, and that's why we're back here tonight. We have constructed a turn lane, a left turn lane, for the original development on Germany Road, and as you see, that more than mitigates with these lots as well. We ask tonight for your approval, and we're here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Staff comments?
Everything meets the subdivision guidelines. They have looked at the combination of both phases in traffic, drainage, as well as the park and landscape requirements, so it meets the subdivision ordinance as it is presented.
Thank you, staff. Does the engineering staff, Mr. Scherow, do you have anything on this?
No, we don't have any other comments other than what's indicated on the review letter, and they satisfied the drainage impact study and traffic impact study policies.
We'll go ahead and open a public hearing on this. Ms. Stacy, has anyone signed up to speak on this matter?
No.
Has anybody come, I know a lot of people came in as the meeting was started. Has anybody come to speak on the Germany Oaks subdivision, item 9A on the planning agenda tonight? Yes, sir, please come forward. And just if you've come to speak on any of during the public hearing, please, if you get a chance, fill out a card and give that to Ms. Stacy up here so we know that you've signed up to speak at this public hearing.
Your name.
You can just state your name for the record, sir.
Okay.
And before you begin, let me just caution everybody. Of course, we want to hear from everybody, but in order to make this in our zoning commission meeting move orderly, we have a time limit of 3 minutes. So there's a clock in front of me, and we're all looking at a clock. So please keep your comments within the 3-minute time period. So you may begin when you're ready, and please let us know who you are so we have some guidance on that.
sir. Yeah, I'm Bobby Jenkins. Live on Country Drive, Country Ridge subdivision right behind the Germany Oaks. We just need to ask some questions like how high they going to elevate their property, if it's going to affect us or anything back in Country Ridge, and address the drainage part to see if they're going to have proper drainage back there so it won't flood us. It's flooding on the east end of, the west end of Country Drive already from the new addition that they've had, and we just need to find out more about it. And let's see. They stated, I think, that they're not going to come out of there with a new road, so we want to make sure that there's only one road coming out of both phases going on the Germany Road. That's going to be the only one way in and one way out. And that's going to cause a whole lot more traffic, I think. Yeah, that's about all I got, I think.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Is anybody else here to speak on this matter?
Yes, my name is Kathy Brooks. We're also concerned about the drainage. What do they plan to do with the canal that's in the back? Apparently, it's been there for 26 years or more. It's tied in with Ascension Parish, but it's never been cleaned out until just last year when my husband brought it up. Because of the new Phase 1, we were having backup problems there. So they cleaned a little bit of it out, but they never came back and finished. So that's a big concern. And are we going to be in a flood zone now or a no flood zone? What are the effects of this?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the Germany Oaks Phase 2? All right, seeing nobody, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Mr. Murphy, can you address for us those the drainage concerns, particularly the concern about existing flooding from the current development on the east side that the gentleman mentioned?
Well, I'm not sure about the current flooding on the west side, but definitely want to look into it. That end of the subdivision, Germany Oaks first phase, was built up in that area. If you come from basically the east side of Germany 2 all the way to that side, it actually falls a good bit. We actually had a finger of the flood zone kind of come into the development on that side. It was naturally a low point and had to be built up. There's also some right-of-ways, some unimproved right-of-ways that were in there that went out to the road to the north that we tied into in order to make the drainage over there go how it was supposed to go. There's also a small ditch all the way to the west that we did some improvements on in order to make drainage flow over there. As far as what we're doing with the drainage here, we're doing a small rerouting, but basically the Country Ridge subdivision will have the canal continuing to run as a buffer between us and them. They actually have a 25-foot drainage servitude, I believe, on that side, as well as we're going to give a servitude and do improvements to that channel and expand the existing pond that's there. Our outfall, we're going to have an additional outfall from the second pond you see there that's going to go into this channel. So we're going to do some improvements of the channel right there in that area to try to make sure flow is properly. On the downstream side of Germany Oaks 1 going to Black Bayou, that is a pretty substantial channel. If it does need cleaning, then we need to, we'll go out there and look at that, and if we need to, we'll try to get with gravity drainage and try to figure that out if it needs additional cleaning. So, or put on the maintenance as a work order. But as far as drainage on this, we're actually going to be improving that channel behind those lots. As far as traffic is concerned, we're only going to have one connection to Germany. That's the existing one that's there today that already has a left turn lane in place.
That canal, staff, who maintains that canal? Is that a parish project?
Yes, that would be DPW.
We have any questions or comments from the commissioners on this?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
you have the pond in lot CA5 that's going to directly discharge to the, to that canal. That's upstream, and on the other side of the, of your control structure. How come you're not discharging it into track CA2, the other pond?
Well, the drainage impact study showed that the different times of concentrations, this actually worked better to go directly into the canal itself as a standalone pond. I think even the ERA brought that up in our original set of comments, was the time together. And looking at the way the drainage study and the way the peaks worked, it made a much better project going directly into the canal.
But does that put an adverse effect or an additional effect on the folks to the north?
Well, we actually are tying in further downstream than where that water went. A lot of that water went directly into the canal in the northeast corner. So we're downstream of where it was going in. So it's actually not increasing the flow at all in that channel.
All right. Hey, Derek, I mean, I gotta admit, this is a little bit different and new. Usually you have a plat that's got series of filings.
Yes, sir.
And then you have different projects. I can't remember ever seeing a project that they just had property added to it like this. And I saw your explanation earlier, I heard your explanation earlier about the property became available after the fact.
Yes, sir. It's basically about, I think, 8 different properties. They kind of all related. And so it really just happened probably in late 2016 or so that the family came and asked, because we bought portions from the family before, same developer, it's going to be the same exact builders, the same exact everything.
Next question, everybody that's in the original Germany Oaks development, everyone was noticed, every single homeowner?
I can't say that every single homeowner was noticed.
Well, it just seems to me that if you're going to add it into that subdivision, whether the code requires it or not, it'd probably be the right thing to do is to notify everybody in that subdivision. I mean, you're going, I know that Germany Oaks is a public right-of-way, correct?
Yes.
But I mean, you're gonna add a lot of traffic to that intersection that affects the rest of that subdivision. The other thing I was going to tell you is I got a lot of calls regarding just going through the calculations of the project, your traffic, not your traffic, the trees, the park, and everything like that. I pulled the old subdivision just to look at it, and I see where you're adding this 49 by 365 parcel, but I'm not quite sure because on the old plat, it's a much bigger parcel. Are you subdividing that parcel in half to only add 49 feet instead of the whole parcel?
No, sir, 49 feet's all that we're adding because that is the tract.
So since the other one was recorded to today, that lot was split, was divided? Because the old plat shows it as a much larger tract. It's at a 100-foot wide tract.
Well, there's 100-foot wide, there's 3 49-foot wide pieces of property there. And we're purchasing 49, one of the tracts.
Just the first one?
Yes, just the first one.
How built out is the first phase of this? Is that completely built out, or how many houses do you have in there?
No, sir, it's not completely built out. Level Homes has basically bought the subdivision, and they're buying the next phase. They're in there building every home in there as all together.
How many homes have they built and sold? How many homeowners currently in the first phase that could be affected? Do you know?
Probably somewhere a dozen or so. I think everything else is still under construction. Possibly a dozen.
And how many lots was that for that first subdivision? It looks like 97. Is what-
97, yes.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if Level contacted those homeowners. They're kind of part of this deal as well. They were, so I'm not sure about that. Because, like I said, every homeowners bought every homeowner bought it from Level Construction.
Staff, do we know about any of the flooding that was referenced by the gentleman? He said the east end of the current development is there, which I guess would be west of the...
west end. It's the west end.
Okay. Is there flooding going on out there that's caused by the current development that's there? Do we know that?
Not that I've been made aware of.
So as far as we know, the drainage studies for the first development are holding true as to what was required and what was intended by them.
Yeah, as far as we know, yes.
Just so y'all know, Level has closed 4 houses in the first filing.
So there's 4 homeowners currently in there,
Yes,
other than Level Construction.
correct.
Is Level going to buy these other lots once this is built out?
Yes, sir.
Or that's the plan?
Yes.
Any more comments or questions by the commissioners or a motion?
One question, one more question. Do you own the Germany Road? I mean, the dark hash line on your plat, is that the boundary of your property?
You're asking if it's part of the green space of the original, or?
Well, if it's part of your, if the dark hash is your property line, and is Germany Road included in your calculations for something?
We considered both Phase 1 and Phase 2 all together in all of our calculations.
Okay, no, Derek, I'm asking you,
Okay.
first of all, do you own the property the Germany Road crosses? Is that dark line representative of your property boundary?
I got you. The H, you're talking about just that stub out going to the existing road itself.
No.
I think he's referring to the on the south side of the property across to the southern end of Germany Road.
Yes.
So you own Germany Road?
Well, we own, of course, being, at most projects, most property in Germany or in Ascension Parish go to the center line and go to the other side. Once we develop this, we're going to dedicate that part of the final plat officially. Even though we show ownership or show ownership to the center line or ownership to the other side, when we cut it back, we'll dedicate that as a true right-of-way. You're talking about for your part calculations? Is that what you're looking at?
So
We didn't include that in our part calculations, if that's...
But you don't have anything on this plat that says you will do that? So you don't mind if I make it a condition?
No, sir, not at all.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
one of the speakers asked if there'd be any change into the flood designations.
Right.
And as a result of the project, there will be none. Any designation on a property by FEMA designation will remain the same,
Okay.
just for clarification.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
And I just want to make sure I'm understanding. I think I've got this right, and so everybody knows. For the traffic impact study, the impact study that was done took into account Silver Oaks, the Walmart, and the Lanyap shopping center and the school that's not yet built, and took into account the proposed traffic that those developments will generate, and this subdivision, even with that, will not decrease the level of service in that area, is according to the impact study. Am I interpreting that correctly?
Everything but the school.
Okay, so it did not take into account the school?
No, because we didn't know any students or what the timeline was. We actually took in everything on Silver Oaks, Lanyap, the Walmart, the improvements that are going to happen at Airline Highway and Germany Road, and and all the traffic from this development here.
Okay. And that was the second question I had. On the second page of or third page, I guess, of the report, it says Germany Road at US 61, said along with construction of adjacent developments, the intersection of Airline Highway at Germany will be modified to accommodate the anticipated traffic growth. That's not y'all who's doing the modification, that's anticipated modification from who?
Well, Silver Oaks has got to do a right turn lane as part of Phase 2 of the apartments that's coming up. We have Lanyap right there that's going to actually be doing some modifications as part of their development. And Walmart is doing some modifications, undergoing construction right now. So those improvements, I believe, were considered. Is that correct? This is Nick Folito with Neil Schaefer. He's our traffic engineer on this as well. So all of those modifications were considered in the traffic study as well. Because they're already, the Silver Oaks is already permitted, and the other ones are actually under construction now. So that's why we included those improvements.
Okay, thanks.
Anything further? Do we have a motion on this?
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to the developer dedicating the complete right-of-way of Germany Road, in conjunction with the recordation of the plat.
So we have a motion to approve with the condition that the developer agreed to the dedication of to the public right-of-way of Germany Road on the plat. Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Second, so motion by Mr. Dumas, second by Mr. Bishop. All in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, item 10A is a public hearing to approve or deny the following subdivision final plat, Silver Oaks PUD Phase 1. Mr. Murphy.
Yes, sir. I'm here to represent Silver Oaks, the residential portion, which is Phase 1, which is 34 residential lots that we just spoke about. We do have some punch list items that we have mostly wrapped up. We asking tonight that y'all approve the final plat contingent upon the punch list items and the bonding information being approved by everyone. We do have a surety bond posted for certain aspects, such as the sewer treatment plant. And a lot of reasons for that is it's a very large plant that we're putting in for the apartments as well. So we're about to start construction on that in February, as well as a few other items that was included, such as requirements on this was a pool house, a pool for some amenities. That's actually under design and permitting right now. So we did include that in the surety bond, as well as a few other items. So we're just asking tonight for your approval contingent upon the punch list items and the bonding.
Comments, staff?
Staff has reviewed the surety bond that's been posted by the developer, and it meets with our approval.
Any other comments on the final plat?
No.
We'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Ms. Stacy, has anybody signed up to speak on Silver Oaks?
No.
Is anybody here that came to speak on Silver Oaks that didn't sign in before the meeting started? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing on this. Any questions or comments by the commissioners and/or a motion?
I got 2 quick questions. One, under the sanitary sewer, number 1 said there's evidence of water infiltration in the sewer system upstream from manhole S6, and there was a request to find the source of the leak, repair and repressure test the line. Has that been performed?
No, sir. We're about to do that probably within the next week. So that's why we're as part of the punch list item. We can't go forward without that.
Okay. And then there was on the January 30th letter, number 6, about the sewer development fees. It says consultant did not acknowledge. Has that been addressed or taken care of, or?
Yes, sir. We submitted all the documentation to the utilities department, and that note has been revised on the final plat.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Dubin?
I really have a comment to staff. I was just going to ask them if it would be too much trouble for them to include the preliminary plat in our staff reports with the final plats.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Sure, we'll be happy to comply with that.
Any other comments, questions by the commissioners and/or motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to compliance with all of the punch list items to the satisfaction of staff.
We have a motion to approve, subject to the punch list items, to the satisfaction of the planning staff. Second? Second by Mr., motion by Mr. Dumas, second by Mr. Foster. All in favor? Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Item 11
Thank you,
is
gentlemen.
the staff report. Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Very briefly, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, the Department of Environmental Quality made a presentation last night to the Council's Utility Committee, and we will be receiving a letter forthcoming from them, which will be addressing some of the discharges that are going into Bayou Manchac. I'll report on that at the next meeting when we receive the letter and let you know what the implications of that will be. But it looks like they're going to be restricting discharge into Bayou Manchac and the tributaries of Bayou Manchac. And we will have to comply with that as a parish, all right? The next thing I'd like to mention is that...
Before you move on with that, is that, are they sending forth new regulations that we'll have to adopt as a parish and include in our review in the land development code, or is this going to be extraneous to that?
This will be very likely extraneous to that, but let's get the letter first so that we'll know exactly what they're looking for in this.
I guess my question is that going to be something that's under our purview in the land development code or to enforce, or is it going to be, or is DEQ going to be enforcing that?
It'll be DHH, the Department of Human, yeah. They're the ones who actually approve the sewer discharge and the MODADs and the small package plants. So we'll work with them on that. Okay.
Matt, I believe that's something that the developer has to submit to the parish, that it has approval from DHH between preliminary plat and final plat.
Right.
So before they can get final plat approval, they'll have to give those certificates to us.
Yeah, I mean, because we're looking to make sure that the subdivision meets the land development code and the regulations on there. I mean, drainage is part of that, but not necessarily water quality. I don't know that there's any water quality provisions in the land development code.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
With that said, we went into contract for an update on our traffic impact fee program. Clancy Mullins, who's with Duncan and Associates out of Austin, Texas, will be giving a presentation to the Transportation Committee on March 6th, and I would extend an invitation to council member or commission members if you would like to attend that. Right?
Thank you.
That's all I have.
All right, great, thank you. Engineer and staff report?
Yes, it's going to give an update on construction plans and construction status. Currently, there are 14 subdivisions in various phases of construction at this time, and there are 4 sets of construction plans are currently in review at this time. That concludes my report.
All right, good. Before we adjourn the planning committee meeting, I know there's a lot of people here. Our next step will be to convene a joint planning and zoning meeting, and the primary agenda item on that is a public hearing to approve or deny and a recommendation to the parish council considering the spud that's located on Longwood Avenue at Highway 73. Once that meeting's concluded, we'll start the zoning meeting, which the primary topic on that is a public hearing regarding the Eads Road property and rezoning of that. So if you've come for one of those items and you wish to speak during the public hearing section, please, during the break, while the TV crew's getting set up, sign in with a card at the podium and give that to the secretary, it'd either be Ms. Stacy or Ms. Patrice, so that we have your name down so that the public hearing can go smoothly on that. That being said, do I have a motion to adjourn the Planning Commission? All right, and we're adjourned. We'll have to take a few minutes break to